So this is AC Starlord 29, and welcome to my channel. And this is the Hawkeye episode 1 and 2. So how we start off this episode with Kate Bishop. Now Kate Bishop, to some of you guys, if you guys are not really familiar with her, she's not a MCU character till now. So Kate Bishop is actually they're going to be the new predecessor of Hawkeye in the comic books. She's in the Young Avengers and all this other stuff. Um, she's also now, I think, in the comics now, really Hawkeye, I think, but Hawkeye, I think, is still Clint. Clint is still Hawkeye. I assume that he's still Hawkeye in the comics, but basically, Kate Bishop is a comic book character that they're going to turn to life in this episode. So in this episode, we meet Kate Bishop, her family, and we meet Kate Bishop when she was a really young, like little girl, and then her dad, I guess, is getting himself in some trouble or whatever. But her dad also has a lot of money, and her mom is just, I guess, with the dad on that. They're married, so I guess she's a part of that. But basically, her parents had a fight and all that stuff, and she was watching, she was listening to it, and the dad's like, "Did you hear all that? I only heard a little bit about moving and stuff like that." So basically, they're on a move and all that stuff. But then before they talk about that, her dad had to go to whatever he was doing. They didn't really explain where he was doing, and then she was playing chess with her mom or whatever, or hanging out with her mom, eating lunch, and then they're playing chess together, and then they were going to do other activity before to continue their fun day and some other activity. But before she could go back to her mom, the first act of the Avengers, the first movie, was happening. So basically, the one scene that we saw in Avengers, where they're focusing on that one apartment where that one Atari alien or whatever they like to call them, that alien was focusing on bombing that the apartment building right there in the very first Avengers movie. Well, that's where Kate Bishop's family lived, and then from a distance she can see Clint, aka Hawkeye, defending off those aliens on another building, and then he shoots an arrow towards the alien trying to blow up that apartment. So basically, Kate Bishop's been part of the MCU, but Kate Bishop's always been part of the MCU, and we didn't know it. Now, the stuff that I said in the beginning is true. She is a comic book character, and she is a brand new person to the MCU, but apparently she's been a part of the MCU. She's been part of the MCU this whole time. So basically, it's been probably from the first Avengers movie, it's been a long time, but that's the very first opening of the show where Clint saves her family saves her from an alien and her apartment and all that stuff. But basically, and then she finds her mom eventually, and the apartment's torn down, and a couple years go by. Now that she's like, the 22, but the actress who plays her is Haley Steinfeld, which is 24. So it's kind of accurate, but not really. But then you see her. We go back to her again, where she's in college, and she had a bet that she can't shoot a big giant bell from one building to another. But then she ends up doing that, and then it causes damage because the bell is the rope on the bell is very fragile, and it breaks, and it goes down, and it breaks the tower. But here's the plus side of the assistance of this. On the other side of the world, Clint is having a fun time with his son, his daughter, and his littlest son, his youngest son. Of course, after the snap, of course. So the daughter's a little bit older, the other son's a little bit older, The little kid's the rightful age. The youngest son is the rightful age to be a little kid, and they go see a. They're in New York, having a fun time, and they go see a play about about the very first Avengers movie. But it's not just about the very first Avengers movies. It's also about Captain America, Steve Rogers. So we get another TV show version of Captain America, but an actual guy that's acting on a Broadway stage as Captain Rogers, and it's called Rogers. So they have a song called "I Can Do This All Day." I can do this all day. All that stuff that they're watching, and you kind of Clint Barton, aka Hawkeye, now has a hearing aid, so he turns it off, I guess, or he's trying to struggle to hear it. But all I can picture when I saw that scene, personally, is Alexander Hamilton. Like, you know how Hamilton made a big impact in our life with a founding father, a war hero, and all that stuff. Well, in this in the MCU, I guess Steve Rogers, is a Hamilton himself. So they do a song, like I said, they do a song called "I Can Do This All Day." That's the opening song, or right in the middle of the play. We don't know. We just watch. When we get to Hawkeye, they're writing, talking about that. They're right in the middle of like the war. They're right in the middle of the war in New York. So in the play. So I guess all that stuff. And then Ant-Man wasn't. And then he's like, "Oh, we're all there. I remember all." His daughter turns to him and says, "Are you okay? Did you turn up the hearing aid? Do you remember all this?" "Yeah, I remember all this, but I remember all this, but Ant-Man wasn't a part of this." So Ant-Man, they show Ant-Man they put Ant-Man on the Broadway stage, which he wasn't really there on the very first Avengers movie, which he was right. But which which Hawkeye was right. But anyways, that's just what this reminded me of, like Hamilton. So imagine, instead of saying, "What's your name, man?" "My name is Alexander Hamilton." Imagine them saying, "What's your name, man?" "My name is Steve Rogers. My name is Steve Rogers. And I've been frozen all these years. I've been frozen all these years. But just you wait. Just you wait. I'll do a million things. Just you wait. I'm looking for you, Mr. Fury. I heard about the great things you've done, all that other stuff." If you get the references for that. So basically, we go back to Haley Steinfeld, aka Kate Bishop. Kate Bishop is talking to her mom. She was going to visit her mom, and she does have an apartment in New York City. You find that out later on in the episode. But she goes back to the apartment she was raised in and talked to her mom. Her mom was going to this gala for her security company, the Bishop Security Company, and she finds out she's dating a new guy that's kind of shady, and all that stuff. And then she goes to the gala, looking upon what her mom and her going to soon to be new stepdad are doing. She's talking to some other she's talking to some other person that she is well known. She knows from her her mom's business, and what that other guy is that she's about to marry. And they have a quick conversation. Then there had a secret dark auction to auction off some other items and stuff like that, like the property where the Avengers were staying out. That's up for sale. And then they found they're selling off the Ronin suits. So that's where the Ronin thing gets into the trailers that we saw this show. That's how the Ronin gets involved. So they're auctioning off that, and they're also auctioning off the sword. So this other group of people end up bomb rushing the secret auction, which is called the Tracksuit Mafia. The Tracksuit Mafia ends up bomb rushing the event and the auction they had. And while they didn't have the opportunity to steal, the Ronin suit. Kate Bishop does, but her new stepdad ends up stealing the sword from the Ronin, and then, well, Kate Bishop puts on the Ronin suit on, and starts kicking ass, and then while she's doing that inside that building, Clint Barton, aka Hawkeye, was getting out of they were getting out of the show because the Steve Rogers show wasn't that great to them. They didn't end up seeing the very end of the show, and they I guess they didn't like it so as much as like they probably would if they saw. What's your name, man? My name is Alexander Hamilton. There's a million things I haven't done. Just you wait. Just you wait. They probably want to see that show more. Probably want to see that show more than they probably want to see Rogers. But, anyways, they end up going to the hotel room. Well, they end up going, no, not in the hotel room. They end up going to dinner. Talked about what they want to do for Christmas. Like, their daughter wants to do a Christmas movie marathon. We're going to do that. And like Clint is like, we're going to do that. And then, what other things you guys want to do? Make gingerbread houses. We're going to do that. And I forgot what the older son said, but we're going to do, I forgot what he said, but they said, we're going to do that, and then all that stuff, that, dinner, and all that good stuff. We go back to the hotel room, and they go back to the hotel room, and they're getting ready to go back home to meet their mother obviously, and Hawkeye's wife, and then he finds out that he finds out that Kate Bishop has the Ronin suit on, and then that draws attention to the tracksuit mafia, and then Kate saves a dog and then when she gets out of the building, Kate saves a dog, takes her to the apartment. She is trying to get back to where mom's at, and Clint, aka Hawkeye, shows up to help her out and fight off the tracksuit mafia. And then the second episode starts where the first episode they go to her the end of the first episode she meets her idol, which is Hawkeye. She's like, "You're Hawkeye." "Yeah, I know." And then the second episode starts right in the alley, and then they go to their apartment to, she takes him to his apartment. She takes him to his apartment and to give back the Ronin suit. And they do the transaction. They talk to each other a little bit about how it's awesome to meet my hero and all that stuff. And he's like, "Yeah, I know, it's all great to meet me and all that stuff, but I really need that suit because, I got enemies, and these enemies you don't want on your back." And all that stuff. So like, but you were my inspiration to become who I am. Also, I also do the same. So basically, in the first episode, she also said when she was a little girl, she wanted to train in bow and arrow. She wanted to train in archery. She also wanted to be a swordsman and all that stuff. So basically, she tells Hawkeye in the second episode about, "You inspired me to do that. You're one of my favorite Avengers," and all that stuff. And then basically, she brings down like her bow and arrow and says, she brings down her bow and she's like, "Sign this." And right when they're about to do all that, to give back the suit and everything, the tracksuit mafia ends up finding them. And then her apartment's on fire because they throw a Molotov cocktail through her window. Clint throws one back at them, and all that good stuff. So they had to leave the apartment. They were going to come back for the. They come back for this. They're going to come back for the Ronin suit. They go to Kate Bishop's aunt's house for a safe house kind of thing. Kate Bishop ends up going to work for her mom's company. They end up taking a walk together, and she's like, they're talking also about what their plan is to get the suit back. And he basically tells her like, "Look, I'm just gonna get the suit back at your apartment. You stay where you are. These people are gonna find you. I don't need your help from you. But what if you need my help? Here's my cell phone." And they got each other's cell phone, and also cell phone numbers and all that. But literally, I don't think that Hawkeye's gonna actually use it. So she goes to work. Her stepdad, her new upcoming stepdad and her mom want to have a dinner. She agrees to the dinner, and then Hawkeye goes back to find the Ronin suit at the apartment. He dresses up like a fireman to find out the suit, and he can't find it. But then he goes on his phone and finds out some guy on social media has the Ronin suit. He's gonna be at this New York live action role playing LARPing thing where like for ninja, well, it's a ninja LARPing thing and all stuff. So he pays money to go inside and gets a sword and he LARPs. So he does all the same moves that we normally see him do, and rest of the Avengers movies, but on regular people with a katana that looks like Leonardo's sword from Ninja Turtles, and starts hitting people with it. Starts doing all his moves that he normally does when he's on missions, and he ends up meeting the guy that has the suit. He's like, I need that suit, bro. And he's like, you have to fight me for it. They end up fighting. He ends up, of course, in LARPing world, he ends up dying so he can honorably get the suit back. And he's like, here's the suit, bro. Thanks for finding me also. Hey, can you return this for me? I don't want this on my credit card. And then he ends up getting in trouble with Tracksuit Mafia. And then Haley / Kate Bishop ends up going to that dinner. She still thinks that new stepfather, the soon-to-be stepfather, is still shady. And do a little fencing thing to prove that he knows how to fence. And then she tries to prove her point, and then the mom doesn't believe her. And then, she goes out and helps out Clint with Tracksuit Mafias because she ends up tracking them. And then they're both in trouble. They're both get interrogated and in trouble towards the end of this. And then there's some secret person that wants them, or wants either Hawkeye or Kate Bishop, either the one or two, but they're all tied up on like he's tied up on a unicorn thing for like children, and then she's tied up onto like a rocket or something like that to make fun of them. Not they're jumped in and all stuff. But anyways, that's been Hawkeye. She also asked why you have a hearing aid, and he's like, oh, I don't know, because maybe a couple explosions from the Avengers, Age of Ultron, and Endgame and Infinity War and all that stuff. So that's why he wears a hearing aid. Hopefully he doesn't have to wear it for the rest of the show. But if he's permanently deaf in one ear or permanently deaf in two ears, because there's a hearing aid in both, I don't know which one hears better or not. But it's kind of sad to see Hawkeye with hearing aids, because I know the comic book version of this story that they're following with Hawkeye, because like the Disney Plus tile and the posters and the promo and all this looks just like the comic book series they had of Hawkeye, because basically it's kind of is the same story. I didn't read that one. I need to, but I kind of like Hawkeye is not my favorite Avenger. He's an awesome Avenger. He's kind of cool. I like Hawkeye. Don't get me wrong. He is the Marvel's Arrow, but he's not my favorite Avenger. But I do enjoy Hawkeye nonetheless. He's an awesome guy, and Jeremy Renner is a very good actor who plays him. So Jeremy Renner's version of Hawkeye got me interested in watching Hawkeye from the very first movie. So I'll watch this TV show. But in the comic books and all that stuff, he doesn't have no hearing aid. He can hear perfectly fine. I don't know what the hearing aid is. It's something new that they added for the MCU, but it's kind of sad that he has it. But anyways, if you want to hear better or shoot better or be a part of Hawkeye's team with the bow and arrow and getting trained like Kate Bishop, press like on this video. Subscribe to get more information about Hawkeye, Chucky, and anything else that you want on here. Hit the notification bell and shoot an arrow through the like button. Seriously, it will help out. And shoot an arrow through the subscribe button. And shoot an arrow through the notification bell. Seriously, because you don't want to miss any other reviews on the Arrow. And we have the last Chucky episode coming up, so you don't want to miss that. And whatever else that I might be talking about, because I might be talking about A Big Christmas and some other stuff. So, even maybe Matrix and King Richard, maybe. So, I'm out, and just put a like and subscribe and all that good stuff.